Hey, welcome to another episode of Spaghetti Westerns podcast. I'm Tom Betts, your host. And today, this is season 6, episode 4, number 117. Today, I'll give you the schedule. We're going to talk about history of the Spaghetti Western, Charge of the Seventh. Whatever happened to will be Riccardo Garrone. Who are those guys? Will be Rafael Albasin. Film of the week will be the great $10,000 Blood Money. I'll have an autograph of the week, poster of the week, and book of the week. The CD of the week will also be $10,000 Blood Money. And we'll wrap things up with the news of the week, okay? So let's get started. And let's talk about Charge of the Seventh. Okay, just when we thought we were out of these Americanized spaghetti westerns, we're back into it. Remember, this is still 1964, and these films were either made at the same time or just before Fistful of Dollars and were released weeks to a couple of months after Fistful, so they still haven't gotten the word that the genre has changed over there. And they're still copying Americanized westerns, using Americanized names throughout the production. So we're going to talk about Charge of the Seventh. It's a 64 Spanish-Italian co-production. Spanish title is El Séptimo de Caballería. Italian title is Gli Eroi di Fort Worth. English titles are Assault on Fort Texan, Heroes of Fort Worth, and Charge of the Seventh. The producer is Silver Bem, at least that's what they put on the poster, which I'll show you later. His real name is Imo Bistolfi, Eduardo Manzanos Brochero, and Arturo Marcos. The director is Herbert Martin. That's really Alberto De Martino. Story is by Eduardo Manzanos Brochero and again Silver Bem. Screenplay is by Herbert Martin, Eduardo Manzanos Brochero. Cinematography is by Eloy Mella. It's an Eastman color in total scope, Music is by Manuel Parada and Carlo Rusticelli, which means that the Parada did the Spanish release and Rusticelli did the Italian release with separate soundtracks. The film runs 100 minutes. The main actors are Major Sugar Patterson, that's played by Edmund Purdom, Major Sam Allison, or Sam Shane, played by Paul Piaget, Colonel George Bonet is played by Eduardo Fajardo, Amanda is played by Monica Randall, Nellie Bonet is played by Priscilla Steele. In actuality, that's Ida Gali. Chief Wild Horse is played by Rafael Albasin. A couple of other names that you'll recognize are Colonel Maxfield or Mansfield is played by Umberto Rajo, which we've discussed in the past on who he was. General shows up is played by Miguel Castillo. A Confederate general is played by Tomas Blanco. And a Confederate major is played by Gonzalo Esquiras. Okay, the story is in 1863, during the end of the Civil War, a band of Southern soldiers led by Colonel Bonet, played by Eduardo Fajardo, with the aid of an Indian tribe, tries to go to Mexico and elicit help from Emperor Maximilian. The soldiers must pass through a narrow pass at the Texas border defended by Union soldiers stationed at Fort Worth. The Southern soldiers and Chief Wild Horse, played by Rafael Albasin, devise a plan where the Indians will attack the neighboring town of Chesapeake with the help of spy Nellie Bonet, the colonel's daughter, who the commanding officer of the 7th Cavalry, Paul Piaget, has fallen in love with. The Plot is when the Union soldiers leave to aid the Southerners will attack Fort Worth. The town appears to be defended mostly by women, but they are settlers and townmen dressed as women, which defend it and beat back the Indian attack. When the South leaves to defend the town, Sugar spots Bonnet and Wild Horse and his braves follow, so he rides to warn the cavalry and saves the day. As the troops march toward Fort Worth, Sugar's enlistment time runs out and immediately leaves the command of Major Sam Allison, played by Paul Piaget. Before he can reach town for a good drink to celebrate, he runs across Apache scouts and, in a moment of conscience, returns to the 7th to warn them and is just in time to prevent a massacre. This film was released 3 months after Fistful of Dollars, which means it was actually made before at the same time as the Leone Classic and was of no influence up to the production. It's solely an American-looking film, which is more to copying John Ford's cavalry films than any independent Italian Western. Alberto De Martino was an excellent director, and it's hard to believe he's the same director that would give us Django Shoots First with Glenn Saxon or $100,000 for Ringo with Richard Harrison. Amazing what 1 or 2 years did to his film presentations. Edmund Purdom was in the middle of his pedestrian spaghetti western career, and although a name actor, was never quite convincing as a western actor. Here, though, he is on top of his game and utterly engaging in acceptability and charismatic in the lead role as the rascal rebel cavalry officer. He's shown in the opening scenes locked in the stockade for insubordination. He whiles away his time drawing naked women on the walls of the cell. He is an early interpretation of the type of character George Hilton or Stuart Granger in a Winnetou films usually played. As Major Sugar Patterson, the son of a senator, and so is expected to enlist, like it or not, Sugar hates his superiors, despises the military in general, and is looking forward to his encroaching civilian freedom, which takes place in a matter of hours where he intends to play cards and have lots of meaningless sex. Filmed at the area of the Widow's Ranch from the Big Gun Down gives the film a Carl May look. There's an Indian girl, Amanda, played by Monica Randall, who falls for Sugar and becomes mostly a nuisance, but eventually they fall in love as well as Major Allison does with Nellie Bonet. In a clever idea, Fajardo's character communicates with his army via carrier pigeon. You'll see this used in a few future spaghettis. At the end of the film, Fajardo's character, Colonel Bonet, is shot and killed by Wild Horse for destroying his people, and in return, Piaget kills Wild Horse. Okay, as far as actor bios, Major Sugar Patterson, played by Edmund Purdom. Edmund Anthony Cutler Purdom was born in Welwyn Garden City, Hertfordshire, England, on December 9, 1924. He was the son of Lillian Antonia Cutler, who was born in 1808 and died in 1971. Purdom was an actor, voice artist, and director. Purdom worked first on stage in Britain, performing various works by Shakespeare, then in America on Broadway, and in Hollywood, and eventually in Italy. He is perhaps best known for his starring role in 1954's historical epic, The Egyptian. Purdom was known by the mid-50s as the replacement star, after taking the place of stars in important roles. After the failure of his Hollywood career, Purdom returned briefly to the United Kingdom and then settled in Italy, where he spent the remainder of his life appearing in local films. Edmund appeared in 5 spaghetti westerns, was married 4 times, and had 2 children. He died on January 1st, 2009 in Rome at the age of 84. If anyone's interested, check out his biography, Hollywood Garage, released in 2020 and was written by his daughter, Leon Purdom. It's very interesting. Covers his career and his life. Major Sam Allison, or Sam Shane, was played by Paul Piaget. Paul Piaget Ducroy was born on September 5th, 1934 in Jerez de la Frontera, Spain, and he died on November 5th, 1985 in Madrid. He appeared in 9 spaghetti westerns, and we covered him in his own episode, number 67 and number 106. Then we have Colonel George Bonet, played by Eduardo Fajardo. Eduardo Martinez Fajardo was born in Mace, Pontevedra, Galicia, Spain, on August 14, 1924. He was one of the best and most seen Spanish actors of the genre, appearing in 36 spaghetti westerns. Fajardo died in Mexico City on July 4, 2019, 6 weeks short of his 95th birthday. We covered him in his own episode, number 33. Jenny, Amanda was played by Monica Randall. She was born Aurora Julia Sarasa on November 18, 1942 in Barcelona, Spain, and appeared in 15 spaghetti westerns. She's still living and was given the Taberna Cine Award at the 2013 Almeria Western Film Festival. We covered her previously in episode number 6. Nellie Benet was played by Priscilla Steele. Priscilla Steele is an alias for Ida Galli, who we know mainly as Evelyn Stewart. She was born on March 9, 1939 in Sestola, Modena, Italy, and appeared in 13 spaghetti westerns. She's still living. We covered her in episode 6. Chief Wild Horse was played by Rafael Albasin, and we'll cover him in this week's Who Are Those Guys? So that wraps up the history of the spaghetti western, Charge of the Seventh. Now we'll move along to Whatever Became of Riccardo Garrone. Okay, Italian actor, director, and voice dubber Riccardo Garrone was born on November 1st, 1926. He's the brother of director Sergio Garrone, who was born in 1925 and is still living. Sergio attended the Silvio D'Amico National Academy of Dramatic Arts and began his acting career in 1949. He appeared in more than 140 films from 1949 until his retirement in 2014. He made his debut in the film Adam and Eve, starring comedian Erminio Macario, and was directed by Mario Mattoli. He also worked in several theater productions alongside other actors such as Vittorio Gassman, Diana Torreri, and Elena Zarchesi. Garrone often portrayed characters with persuasive, polite personalities in a variety of B-movie, comedies, spaghetti westerns, and horror films, sometimes under the aliases Rick Garrett and Dick Regan. In the 1980s, he made frequent stage collaborations with Antonella Steni and appeared more on television. One of his most popular television series roles was on Un Medico in Famiglia, in which he portrayed Nicola Solari. He also had a recurring role on Amico Mio, starring Massimo D'Apporto. Garrone appeared in a dozen spaghetti westerns where he excelled in playing slick con men and sleazy villains. Garrone also worked occasionally as a voice actor and dubber, where he most often dubbed characters in animated films. He was internationally renowned for providing the Italian voice of Lotso Huggin Bear on Toy Story 3. Riccardo was married to Grazia Maria Vierita, V-I-E-R-I-T-A, Vierita, from 1956 until 2016. They have a daughter named Francesca Garrone. Garrone died in Milan, Italy on March 14, 2016, at the age of 89. Some of his better known spaghetti westerns are Di Guayo in 65. He played the role of Ferran and was billed as Dick Regan. The Bang Bang Kid in 67 with Guy Madison. He played Killer Kissick. No Room to Die in 69. He plays Fargo. A Man Called Sledge in 1970. He plays the prison warden. The Return of Hallelujah in 1972. He plays Zagaya. And his last spaghetti western in '74, The Crazy Bunch with George Hilton, he plays Frisco Joe or Tutti Frutti. I'll post a list of his complete spaghetti westerns on YouTube and the Spaghetti Westerns podcast on Facebook when we're done with the podcast. Next, we're going to move on to Who Are Those Guys and Rafael Albasin. Okay, Rafael Albasin was one of my favorite Spanish character actors, and you'll see his face, and when you recognize it, you'll be able to recognize him in a lot of spaghetti westerns. He shows up as Mexicans, Indians, and sidekicks. Ignacio Rafael Garcia Escudero was born in Madrid, Spain on June 5, 1919. He had a thorough education and enjoyed playing the piano and the violin. Speaking both French and English, he traveled a good deal through Holland, France, and Belgium in his youth. Raphael wrote music and was an accomplished artist who designed costumes for the bull ring. He became a torero, a bullfighter on horseback, and a matador. Albasin appeared in many of Spain's greatest bull rings from 1942 until 1948. Raphael was the model for the famous painting Portrait of a Bullfighter by artist Ignacio Zuloaga y Zabaleta. After being gored several times, he decided to stop dodging the deadly horns of enraged bulls and turned to acting, where he dodged fake bullets and became an actor. He made his first film appearance in 1948's La Fiesta Segre, directed by Enrique Gomez. He'd go on to become a character actor and appeared in over 30 European westerns during his career. Some of his most recognizable titles are Savage Guns in '61, Jango, Navajo Joe in '66, A Long Ride from Hell in '68, Catlow in '71, Sonny and Jed in '72, China 9, Liberty 37 in '78, and his final appearance was in Comin' At Ya in 1981. He also appeared in the television series Curro Jimenez, as well as several others. Rafael's daughter is flamenco dancer and actress Maria Albasin. She was born in 1943. She appeared in one Euro Western in 1966, The Secret of Captain O'Hara. Like her father, she also appeared in the television series Curro Jimenez. Rafael died on September 3, 1981, at the age of 62. Again, I'll post his complete Western filmography on YouTube and Facebook when we dub this, or when we actually post this after this is finished. Okay? Now let's move on to the film of the week and $10,000 Blood Money. Okay, along with The Forgotten Pistolero, this is probably my most favorite spaghetti western next to the Leone films. It's in its 1967 Italian film production. The Italian title is $10,000 per a Massacre, also $7 su Arizona. It has several English titles. Jango, $10,000 Blood Dollars, $10,000 for Jango, $10,000 for a Massacre, Guns for Violence, and $10,000 Blood Money. The producers are Mino Loy and Luciano Martino. It's directed by Romulo Guerrieri, whose real name is Romulo Girolami. That's Enzo's uncle. Story is by Franco Fognaноla, Ernesto Gastaldi, and Luciano Martino. Screenplay is by Franco Fognoli, Ernesto Gastoli, Luciano Martino, and Suaro Scavolini. The cinematography is by Federico Zani, and it's in Technicolor and Chromoscope. The music, and it's great, is by Enora Orlandi. The song Basta Così is sung by Giorgio Farini, or Farina. His real name is Piero Giorgio Farinelli, and it runs 100 minutes. The main cast is Jango, played by Gary Hudson. That's actually Johnny Garco. Mijanu is played by Loredana Nusiak. Manuel Vasquez or Cortez is played by Claudio Camaso. Dolores Mendoza is played by Adriana Ambesi. $7 is played by Panucio Ardia. Fidelio is played by Fidel Gonzalez. Cisco Stardust Vasquez is played by Fernando Sancho. And Cisco is played by Macio Scarcielli. Okay, the story goes, released from prison where he had ended up as a result of a complaint from a landowner named Mendoza, played by Franco Batella, Manuel Vasquez, played by Claudio Camaso, and his trusty friend Cisco, played by Massimo Sarcielli, exterminate the men of Mendoza's ranch and kidnap Dolores, played by Adriana Ambesi, the daughter of their enemy. In revenge, Mendoza offers Jango, played by Johnny Garco, a well-known bounty hunter, a large sum of money to kill the bandit and free his daughter. But Jango, who knows Manuel, with whom he had branded as a cheater at cards, rejects the offer. His fee is much higher than what Mendoza had offered. Jango is staying with his friend, the local photographer Fidelios, in his shop and becomes infatuated with a local saloon owner, Mijanu, played by Loredana Nusiak, who has nursed him back to health and falls in love with her. One last windfall, he'll be able to leave with her for San Francisco, but she can't wait and decides to leave without him. Manuel then makes Jango an offer he can't refuse, half of a gold shipment he hopes to steal. Jango's job is to lure away the coach's escort so Manuel can take the gold shipment without killing anyone. While Jango blocks the military escort that follows the coach with an explosion that closes the narrow pass, Manuel and the other bandits exterminate all the travelers, among whom is Mijanu. Manuel and the other bandits exterminate, like I said, all the travelers and run off with the gold shipment. Feeling reviled and ridiculed at this point, the $10,000 bounty or not, Jango has a score to settle. Jango faces Manuel and Stardust and his remaining gunmen in a dust storm. As far as talking points, this is an excellent directed and acted film, and there's not a weak link in the cast, and one of the best scores of the genre adds tremendously to the feel of the film. One of the best opening scenes of the genre, the opening shows a seagull flying over a large body of water and Jango awaking to a sunny day and a squawking bird. Next to him lying on the beach is his traveling partner. No, it's not a buddy or a sidekick, it's a corpse, and the bounty Jango is taking in for the reward. The next scene is a fantastic long shot of Jango and his dead bounty riding across a desert landscape with high hills in the background. While heading towards him is a lone rider. Both Jango and the lone rider look suspiciously at each other as they pass, and they both size each other up. They know they'll meet again. The great Nora Landia score soars in the background as the lone rider, Manuel Vasquez, whips his horse and rides away, while Jango continues his slow, methodical trek to town. Garco is Jango in name only, as he is clearly portraying his Sartana character, even down to his black outfit. He's very fussy or precise on the bounties he pursues. They must have a bounty of $10,000 or more before he would be interested. In this film, he turns down Mendoza's offer several times before he decides to pursue Manuel. The murder of a woman and the turning point that pushes him over the edge. Tommaso is Manuel, and as far as I'm concerned, this is his best spaghetti western role. He's almost a twin to his brother Gian Maria Volante incarnate. The eyes give their relationship away. The film contains one of the best scenes in the genre. When Garco arrives after the stagecoach robbery, he rides up alone and sees the dead bodies of the driver, shotgun rider, and passengers on the ground. As almost an afterthought, he looks inside the coach to see if anyone may still be there. He spots Mijinu staring back at him. She's also been murdered, and at first Jango responds in disbelief. He looks away and then peeks through his gloved hands and sees her stare. Suddenly it hits home that she is dead, and that he refused the day before to leave his quest for Manuel's bounty and accompany her and start a new life together. With Orlandi's melancholy theme slowly played, it is one of the most powerful scenes you'll ever see, with not a word spoken, just Garco's face telling the viewer what he's feeling. It's not until Fidelius arrives that he comes out of his spell. Fernando Sancho plays the father of Manuel and is called Stardust for the lawman's badges he collects and wears on his vest over his years of outlawry. He loves Manuel and has brought him up in his image. $7, portrayed by Panucio Ardea, is one of Manuel's henchmen, but he's older and a bit of an oddball, sort of like Dusty in the other uh, films of Garco playing Sartana. He always tries to figure up the percentages on showdowns that you'll see. He's along for comedy relief. Fidel Gonzalez is the sidekick of Jango, and he turns in a wonderful job. Trivia here, there's a scene in Fidelius's shop where he has recently printed wanted posters hung up to dry on a clothesline. The poster is the same one Klaus Kinski flashes in The Great Silence. Okay, authors, actors bio. Jango, played by Gary Hudson, like I said, is Johnny Garco. He was born Giovanni Garkovic on July 15, 1935 in Zara, Dalmatia, Italy. He was one of the major stars of the genre and appeared in 17 spaghetti westerns and a number of documentaries on the genre. He recently appeared at the Almeria Western Film Festival in October of 2023. We covered him in his own special, episode number 30. Mijinu, played by Loredana Nusiak, she was born Loredana Cappelletti on May 3, 1942 in Trieste, Friuli, Venezia Giulia, Italy, and died of cancer on July 12, 2006 in her hometown. She was Miss Trieste 1959 and was married to actor Gianni Medici. She appeared in 6 spaghetti westerns. We covered her previously in episode number 86. Claudio Camaso played Manuel Vasquez or Manuel Cortez. He was born Claudio Camaso Volante on January 12, 1934 in Rome, Italy. He was the brother, as I said before, of Gian Maria Volante and was married to actress Verena Bear Volante. She was born in 1945 and they were married from 72 to 77. And they were the father of Saba Volante, who was born in 71. He committed suicide in prison, awaiting trial on July 29, 1977. He was only 43 years old. Camaso appeared in 5 spaghetti westerns, and we covered him in his own special episode with his brother Gian in number 40. Dolores Mendoza is portrayed by Adriana Ambesi. Adriana Ambesi was born in Italy in 1933. She was a model and a CSC film actress. She appeared in 7 spaghetti westerns and was often billed as Audrey Amber. She quit acting, became a herbalist, and opened up her herb shop in Rome. She's still with us. Next was $7, played by Panucio Ardea. He was born Rodolfo Ardea on August 21st, 1914 in Naples, Campania, Italy. He was a film and voice dubber who appeared in 11 spaghetti westerns. Ardea died in Rome on February 15th, 1994 at the age of 79. Next we have Fidelio, played by Fidel Gonzalez. He was born somewhere in Spain as Fidel Alvarez Cortese Sanchez Garcia. Date and location unknown. Fidel appeared in 9 spaghetti westerns and is another of those neglected Spanish actors we know nothing about. He's probably best remembered as Zorrito in 1966's Johnny Yuma with Mark Damon. Shame these people go unnoticed. Next we have Cisco Stardust Vasquez, played by the great Fernando Sancho. Born Fernando Sancho Les on January 17, 1916 in Zaragoza, Spain, he was one of the leading Spanish actors of the spaghetti western genre and appeared in 64 spaghetti westerns. He died in Madrid on July 31st, 1990, during an operation to remove a tumor. He was 74. See more about him in his own special episode, number 9. And last but not least is Cisco, played by Massimo Zarchielli. Massimo Zarchielli was born in Florence, Italy on April 9, 1931. He was a director, writer, film and TV actor. He appeared in over 150 films and TV series, but only 4 spaghetti westerns. He was married to author and chef Judy Zarchielli. Real name is Judy Fine, F-I-N-E, Fine. She was born in 1937. She's still alive. And they were married from 62 to 2000. He's the cinematographer, cameraman, brother of Sasha. I'm sorry, that's their daughter. Cinematographer, cameraman, Sasha Sarchielli, who was born in 1966. Okay, next we'll cover CD of the week. Okay, unbelievable. There was no album for this soundtrack, $10,000 Blood Money. It didn't come out until a double CD was released in 2009, which I find incredible. It also contains Per $100,000 Ti Amazo, which is also confused with $10,000 Blood Money. It was released by GDM on GDM 4127. It contains 18 tracks, and $100,000 for Revenge contains 13 tracks. Total listing time is 53 minutes and 29 seconds, and its value ranges anywhere from $22 to $50. Composer Nora Orlandi. Nora Matilda Rosa Orlandi was born in Voghera, Lombardy, Italy. She's the daughter of opera singer Fanny Mariam Campos and the sister of singer-songwriter Paola Orlandi, born in 1938. Nora is the first woman in a purely male world of composers. She founded the vocal group originally called Quartetto 2+2, and then it became E4+4 by Nora Orlandi. She has composed 20 soundtracks for the big screen, mostly ranging between the Western and thriller genres. Among her most famous scores are Johnny Yuma in 1966, which won the Critics Award for Best Music for Western Films. She was sometimes credited under the alias Joan Christian. She's written music and lyrics for songs by famous Italian singers including Domenico Modugno, Nico Fidenco, Gianni Morandi, and Lucio Battisti. Nora is married to architect Franco Tonani. Real name is Francesco Cagnasso. He was born in 1935. As far as I know, he's still alive. And they've been married since 1955. Okay, let's cover Autograph of the Week. Okay, Autograph of the Week. The great Alex Cord. I got this at one of the Hollywood Collectors Show. It says to Tom, peace, love, and health, Alex Cord. I tried to talk to him about spaghetti western career, A Minute to Pray, A Second to Die. I got nowhere. He was suffering from a hangover and didn't do too much talking to anybody. So that was the end of our conversation. I've never been able to get a hold of him until his passing and reading about his career in a bit. Okay, let's talk about Book of the Week. The week is a book on Terence Hill and Bud Spencer uh, by Marco Bertolina and Ettore Ridola. Got a lot of pictures, covers their entire career. And this came out in, let me see, I'm sorry, I should have written it down. Weird, doesn't have a date. Sometime in the late 90s, early 2000s. And like I said, it covers their entire career, has a lot of pictures, has their biographies and filmographies on it. And that was produced by Grammesse Editori. And it's worth picking up. It's still available on 8 books. I think you can find it on Amazon. Italy, if you don't want to spend a lot of money on Terence Hill and Bud Spencer, but you want a reference book, that's the one to get. Okay, let's cover some posters. I have one poster. It's a poster from a window poster. It's in Italian. Charge of the 7th. As you can see at the bottom, it says Silver Bem. There it is. So all the names again were in the Italian names were in English. And then I also have $10,000 blood money. This is the film program is Danish. These were passed out to film goers. Contains pictures of the film. Great picture there of Claudio. It's usually about 8 pages long. I get the last page here. Synopsis of the film, and then a list of the actors on it. Okay, now let's finish things up with the weekly news. Okay, weekly news. There's a new Italian biography, which was released on October 1st by Cultural Association, Il Foglio, entitled Il Cinema di Romolo Guerrieri, Viaggio del film di genere italiano. In English, it's The Cinema of Romulo Guerrieri, which I said is Enzo's uncle. It's a journey into Italian films by him. It's by Giuseppe Castigliola. It's in Italian, contains 400 pages. Then we have a new French Blu-ray and DVD called La Mort était un rendezvous, which is Death Rides a Horse, which came out in 1967. It's directed by Giulio Petroni and stars Lee Van Cleef, John Philip Law. This was released on November 15 on the Elephant Films label. Contains 2 discs, one the Blu-ray and one the DVD. It's in French, Italian, and English, with French and English subtitles. Has a running time of 115 minutes. Extras include a 12-page booklet with text by Elaine Petit. Then we have a new German Blu-ray and DVD of El Rojo del Toro, which is El Rojo, which was released in '66 and directed by Leopoldo Savana and stars Richard Harrison, Piero Lulli, and Nieves Navarro. It was released on November 17th on the Mediac/Tonpol label. It's Region B. It's in mono, German, Italian languages with a running time of 78 minutes. It has 3 cover versions, and it's available in 333 copies each. Okay. Then we have, let's see, we have our weekly RIPs, and the first one is Michela Pignatelli. She died in Rome, Italy on October 30th. She was 78. She was born Michela Pignatelli Sandali in Naples, Campania, Italy on March 11th, 1945. She entered the film industry in the early 1960s and appeared in over 40 films and TV appearances. She also dubbed Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween and Daryl Hannah in Wall Street, along with several others. She was married at one time to actor Flavio Bussi. He was born in 47 and died in 2020 and was the mother of their two children. Michaela appeared in only one spaghetti western as Margaret in 1968's Pilak the Timid One, directed by Guido Solano, starring Edmund Purdom. Then we have actress Janet Alice Landgard. She died of brain cancer at her Papago Springs, Colorado home on November 6th. She was 75. Landgard was born in Pasadena, California on December 2nd, 1947, and worked for the William Adrian Modeling Agency while still at Pasadena High. She made her on-screen debut in '63 on the Donna Reed Show, playing the girl named Sabrina. She was also Jeff's girlfriend. She appeared in the fifth season episode. She also appeared on ABC's My Three Sons that year. She would go on to star with Burt Lancaster in the 1968 film The Swimmer, written by Eleanor Perry and directed by Frank Perry, who did Doc. Landgard appeared in one spaghetti western as Kate Mayfield in 1969's Land Raiders with Telly Savalas and George Maharis. And I've got to mention that the week before, which we weren't on, the great Greek actor Spiros Fokas passed away in Ilios, Greece on November 10th. He was 86. Fokas was born Spiridon Michael, and I'm going to blow this. My friend Spiros is going to laugh at me, but it's Andrew. So Olson, I believe. Look it up on my blog or the Facebook page under Westerns All Italiana for his entire name. You probably put it on IMDb too. Anyway, he was born on August 17th, 1937 in Patras, Greece, and was one of Greece's most respected and well-known actors. He was discovered by legendary Italian director Luciano Visconti and cast in a lead role in the classic Rocco and His Brothers in 1960. He went on to star in many Greek and Italian films throughout the 1960s and 70s, working with such famous directors as Vincente Minnelli and Ferdinando Baldi. His work in Hollywood includes the hit films The Jewel of the Nile in '85 and Rambo 3 in 1988. His most recent work includes the role of Uncle Telly in Three Nights in Niceros in 2009. Fokas appeared in one spaghetti western as Ken Dakota in 1968's Hate Thy Neighbor, where he was billed as Clyde Garner. He starred as Pedro Suarez or Zorro in the 1969 semi-western Zorro in the Court of England. He was scheduled to play the role of Pancho in an upcoming American western entitled Showdown in Durango. Okay, that's all we have for you now. So I'll sign off and say we'll see you down the road. This has been a Roberto Genesi production, and until then, adios amigos.